Okay. Can you hear me okay? Good. I'm so happy to see everybody. Just getting comfortable. Sorry. So, how is everybody? It's Sunday morning. There we go. The blinding lights have come on. So, let's meditate. How should we do it this morning? So, take a deep breath into your belly, just below your belly button. And just feel into that space, into the quiet that exists there. And see if you can settle your mind by allowing it to drop into that quiet under your belly button. And now sit up straight so you allow your body to be in a place of flow. And find whatever way to support your body so that it's comfortable, but as straight as you can make it. And that usually means pulling your head back so that the weight of your head is over the base of your spine. And allow your shoulders to do whatever they want to do. And now you can release your body and go back to focusing on the energetic experience itself. But setting up the body sometimes will relieve a block. And once that relief is felt, then the energy can flow and you can be at ease with whatever position of comfort in your body. Feel for that quiet again and drop your mind into that quiet. And now allow yourself to drop your attention into the tip of the tailbone, just in front of it. And see if you can align your breath with the backwards and forward motion of the tip of the tailbone. And if you can't, don't worry, it will come to you in time. Just feel into that space for the quiet, calm. And if you're like me, I have the habit of dropping my head as I feel into the lower parts of my body. So I have to remind myself to pick it up so that the flow through my neck is not disrupted. So I imagine that some of you might have that same issue. When you're ready, allow your energy to rise to the solar plexus, feeling into that calm. See if you can take that calm with you to your solar plexus. If it's like mine, it's a little bit roiling at the moment. Who knows why? And on a certain level, it doesn't matter. Sorry, I need to turn off my phone. It's a day where technology seems to be appearing at every turn. So feeling into the solar plexus and using your breath, allow whatever tightness you feel or any other restriction to just let go. And if it doesn't, that's okay. You just say hello, you're welcome here too. It's just what is. So we can embrace whatever we find without judgment. We can actually have the understanding that every experience ever had by a human being could become our experience in any given moment. There's so much that we have no control over. And we have two choices about how we meet that understanding. We can either get tense or totally relax, understanding that it's not up to us. Conscious awareness is what's up to us. Cultivating that. And without attachment means that we don't react to any restriction that we feel inside ourselves, except with total acceptance and appreciation for the fact that we're human. And in cultivating that for ourselves, we are cultivating that for the whole. And if you meet a restriction inside yourself and you have no idea about it, you can say, what do I need to know? Or what am I not seeing? And in saying the not, it disappears anyway. So what you're really asking is, what am I seeing? And when you're ready, allow your energy to move up to your heart center. Energy follows attention, so take your attention into the center of your chest. Just feel for that simple openness. And when you're ready, take your attention into your throat center. When you're ready, take your attention to your third eye. And allow it to lift out the top of your head whenever it's ready to do that. And we'll just spend a few minutes feeling into this experience of energy flowing through and around our body. When you're ready, staying with your attention where it is in your energetic body, allow yourself to gently open your eyes while holding steady with your inner experience. So happy to be with you this morning. How may we serve? Hmm. So this past week has been the Mars-Jupiter conjunction in Taurus. To put that into experiential terms, the planet of war and the planet of wisdom were in planetary war, which means they were occupying the same degree for 3 or 4 days in the last week. And during those days, we saw expansion of war in the world. Despite the best efforts of those who would make peace. And so we can see from that that the astrology is powerful. It's just powerful. It creates energies that invigorate energies that we all have. And so if we have a tendency to act out in a negative way as a culture, if there's this mass feeling of, or if the leaders have those sensitivities, then they will expand a war. So it's interesting, what we're responsible for and what we're not. So what we'll say is that we're responsible for learning, for evolving in our own selves. And as we develop compassion in ourselves, we are sharing that with everybody who shares our environment. And we are sensitizing ourselves to that field of energy so that when that field of energy is expanded in our field, we will participate as much as possible in that way. And the truth about our state of being is that where we put our attention is what grows. So if we are feeling like we are making war inside ourselves, then in these moments that will become very, very intense. And the reason for that intensity is so that we learn how to create peace. It's just as simple as that. We learn to create peace in ourselves. And one of the ways to do it is mantra. We can literally, and the go-to mantra is the long one that we've told you about before, called the Mrityamanjaya mantra, which is on the internet. And we have sung it in several meditations in the past. I don't think this morning is being recorded. So, but we'll record it again. And it's a very, very powerful mantra it's the mantra for enlightenment. And if we were to only learn one mantra, and it takes a long time to say it 108 times. It doesn't take too long to say it 27 times. Oh, actually, we are recording. Okay. So I'll sing it. Triambakam yijamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam orvarukamiva bandhana mrityur mukshivamamritata. And we've printed it out. We'll do it again in the not too distant future. And the way you learn it is very slowly. Like the first day, you just go Om Triambakam. That's enough. And you just learn that. You say that 27 times. Maybe you do that for a week, because these are syllables you've never had any experience with. And then the second week, you say Triambakam Yijamahe. Maybe you'll say that for 2 weeks. And gradually, you add a few syllables every week. And within 2 months, it's rolling off your tongue. It's very beautiful. And it helps. One of these days, we'll make a recording and you can sing along with it. There's tons of it on the internet. We actually learned it from a recording on the internet. Oh, good. There are all the words. And you can say the words too. You don't have to sing them. You can learn the melody and the words separately if you want to. We're saying it's worth doing because in those hot moments where we know we have no control and our mind starts to do crazy things, it's really nice to have a mantra that you know is the mantra for enlightenment, and you can hook your mind to it. You know, one of the implements that many of the Hindu deities carry is an elephant hook, and it like hooks the elephant to direct its attention. And that's a very powerful symbol for how we can direct the attention of our mind with mantra. And the thing about all these mantras are in Sanskrit. And Sanskrit, it goes back to the whole concept of the Vedas that there are 4 yugas. Yugas are periods of time, very long periods of time. Each one is over 1 million years or hundreds of thousands of years. I can't remember it because my mind has no place for numbers that big. I can't imagine how big that is, how long it is, because, you know, our lives are mostly less than 100 years. So I can't imagine these cycles, but in the Sat Yuga, everyone, it's common knowledge that love is the only place to live from. It's like common sense in the Sat Yuga. Everybody lives like that. And there's no idea that anything else has any merit. And so we can't even imagine it because we've never had even a day like that where everything is about love. If we have, we're very lucky. And so in that time, the language is all about spirituality that reflects that state. And so these mantras are the syllables that were put together from that time to serve humanity for eternity, for as long as they could be held. And so they've been passed down from generation to generation, first in oral tradition, because in the Sat Yuga, you only have to be told something once and you understand it forever. We can't imagine that because we aren't built that way. And it's not a fatal flaw, it's a sign of the time that we're in. And, some astrologers say we're in the worst of times, which is the Kali Yuga. And some astrologers say that we're in the Yuga right above that. Doesn't matter what the Sanskrit names are. But there are 4 of them, and we're either in the third worst or the 4th worst. And the astrologers who say that we're not in the worst say that it changed when we got electricity. That at that time we were able to comprehend the world around us in a different way that brought benefit to everyone. So this is known throughout India as the mantra for enlightenment. So we figure if you're going to say one mantra, you might as well say the one for enlightenment, even though it's a little bit long. Because what else do we really want? If we think about it, we think about aging, we don't want to live forever. And I mean, what else is there to want except to know God, to know love, to know what it is to be at total peace in love, where we have a choice between joy and anything else. And when we say joy, it's the undercurrent of joy, no matter what happens. It's the capacity to welcome death as a new experience, a journey, something we have yet to know, something to be curious about. In In circumstances that are difficult, it's hard to cultivate curiosity and innocence because we think we know. And most of the time we don't. And curiosity and innocence allows us to experience the true potential of any circumstance. One of the things we often talk to patients about is the awareness that crisis and opportunity in the Chinese hexagrams, what do you call them? I Ching? Not the hexagrams, the writing, it's kanji in Japanese. I don't know what it is in Chinese. The letters. Yeah, they're like pictograms. Well, the one for crisis and opportunity is the same. And so when we experience a crisis, our immediate reaction is to shut down. When we engage it as an opportunity, we open. This choice exists for us always. The only difference between us is how long it takes to make it, to recognize it, and make it our reality. It is not easy, but that's what consciousness is. It's recognizing that we have a choice when we feel like we have none. And very often in our external circumstances, they are what they are. But often they're choices we can't see because we make assumptions about the crisis of limitation, experiencing the crisis as limitation rather than opportunity. And of course, when we meet a new situation, our first experiences are going to be internal failure because we've never done this before. I discovered in the last few weeks I'm a terrible patient. I'm part of the doctor club, not the patient club. What a rude awakening to suddenly be on the other side. These things happen. It's an opportunity. I kind of wish it had happened sooner because I would have a lot more compassion for what it is to be a patient. But things happen when they happen. And time is not something we have any control over. And what I'm coming to understand most about in astrology is that all the positive things have to be somewhere, and all the negative things have to be somewhere at a given time. And it's sort of like, in a very mundane, reductionistic way, it's like the same thing. We've talked about it before. Some days you're on the top of the bicycle tire and some days you're underneath it, but it's always going around. And so to be surprised that being in any particular place is, well, we thrive on variety. We actually do. Human beings kind of lose it when things get too boring. And yet, we do have the curse of living in interesting times. It's a little bit too not boring. And seems to be speeding up every day. So we hope it unfreezes. We're responding to Carol, who says sorry about mentioning your name. The computer's frozen. So let's take some questions or experiences, anything you have to share this morning. We welcome it. What's new? Yes.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm on my a really old iPhone, and I've never used it for Zoom, so I'm kind of it's a miracle that I was able to get on, and yeah, I'm so in awe of
You're
people
all
who,
pleased.
yeah, people who are tech, you know, good, confident, competent. Yeah, it's because it's just a maze always for me. So, anyways, I'm just really glad to be here. And yeah, I've been in kind of tech hell for a couple of days. And you mentioned that right before our meditation that there's been like tech stuff. And then that crazy day yesterday that started out so sunny and nice and then just kaboom went went crazy around here. Yeah, and so the Jupiter Mars thing certainly seems to be apt on many levels, and I'm sure feeling it.
Yeah.
So
Well, they're
yeah,
gradually moving away from each other. There's another thing that happened at the same time, and well, it involves a little bit of explanation, but when a planet goes from a water sign to a fire sign, and there are three of these places in the horoscope, what happens is that planetary energy gets very agitated, and it makes us, depending on which planet, it makes us agitated in different ways. But the sun, in this past week, went from Cancer, which is a water sign, into Leo, which is a fire sign. And in that transition, there's a period of about 4 days where it becomes so tumultuous, because the sun is about our self-esteem and our identity, and it's the most personal planet we have. And so when that planet is compromised, if it's in any way related to our sun, it makes us sort of not understand who we are or where we are or why we are. And it all feels very, very dark and hot. That's sun when it's confused. Or it can be bright and hot. But that's not necessarily, we can get really arrogant and out of line, which is the other extreme of that. So that was happening at the same time as this Jupiter-Mars conjunction. And because Rebecca, I have both of those in places that are slightly dramatic for me. Both were palpable, and I couldn't tell who was doing what to whom. Initially, I blamed it all on the Mars-Jupiter conjunction because I didn't see that sun was moving from one house to the next. That's my youth as an astrologer. And, seeing one thing that's really obvious and saying, oh, that must be the whole picture. No, it was happening from two places at once. So, and that was all happening to all of us. It happens that my sun is in Cancer, so I was feeling it. And the two strongest benefics are in Taurus, which is the planetary war, my two strongest benefics. And so a lot of my chart was hurting and overheated. So that's just my own perspective, that energy existed for everybody on the planet, and at different times, depending on their location on the planet, different times like within the same day or within the same week. But everybody experiences it in their own way, depending on where their planets are in that moment. There's some people who didn't experience this past week in that way at all, because they have a different horoscope that heightens different things. So they might have felt it in a different arena. We are so glad you're here.
I assume you're speaking to everyone, but I'll take that to heart.
We are. Please.
I'm good. What?
Please speak to us.
Oh, I was just going to say that I'm probably going to be out of range again for the next couple of weeks. So all the more reason for me to be so grateful to be here with you today. With you all. I can't see the rest of you because it's not showing on my screen, but hi. So yeah. And I'm really grateful that you have your YouTube channel to hook into when I can get to something. So
oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're grateful that you use it. It's it's gratifying to see that people are watching.
Yeah, I forget that it's there sometimes, and then it's like, no, I can watch it, So yeah, great.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for that. And we so appreciate that you guys come. Our contract is that as long as people come, we will do this. That's, yes.
Good morning, everyone.
Oh, good morning. So nice to hear your voice.
Well, I had a very different experience this week. I have been particularly happy and feeling good. And I actually found yesterday's storm very exciting. So, but when things are good, I feel a little wary. It's kind of like, uh-oh. Yeah, it's human nature to think, oh, this isn't going to last. What's going to happen? But in any case, I'm enjoying it for now. And I want to say that I particularly enjoyed the guided meditation today. And I appreciate the idea of asking, what do I need to see if I come upon some tightness or blockage? Because I think that can benefit me when I'm so wrapped up in my aches and pains. And so I'm going to try that and just see what is it I need to see? What should I ask? What's happening? And as you've coached in the past, it's self-care, it's self-love, which is good for me. So thank you so much, and thank you for everybody to be here. It's wonderful.
Hmm. Well said. Thank you. And we're so happy you're happy. Really, just so delighted.
When you were talking about the aspects of water that are happening in the ether, I had this inkling that perhaps my reaction to that, which isn't getting hooked into, the aspects of war, perhaps that part of my chart is what's helped me to tolerate some of the difficulties in my life. I just somehow, they don't go that, I mean, they certainly affect me, but somehow I'm able to tolerate it in a different way, which I'm very thankful for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We all, it's like we were saying earlier, we all experience these things at different times and in different ways because we all have a different, if you look at the horoscope as a deck of cards, we've all been handed a different one.
Yeah.
And the variables are just beyond our imagination to comprehend. Because, of course, they're 360 degrees if you go around the whole Earth. And each one has a different flavor with a different combination of planetary energies. And so, there's just an infinite number of combinations that can make us feel certain ways. But even understanding that concept gives us a little bit of distance to say, yes, I feel this, but it's not exactly because of something I did or didn't do. It's that the combination of factors have coalesced to create this circumstance. And this circumstance is here so that I can evolve. And, you know, when we have these beautiful moments, we put them in the bank. You know, we completely enjoy them and we remember the feeling so that we can come back to it when we need it. Knowing the feeling of joy it's our friend. Knowing the feeling of grief is a different friend. And all of these things arise out of love itself. All experience arises out of creative source energy, which is our infinite resource. And enlightenment is finding the center within ourselves that is at the root of every other experience. That stillness, which in a way has no particular flavor, but is the essence of every experience. That stillness is where it all comes from. And in cultivating awareness of that, we have a choice to stop in any moment and feel for that. And when we do that, no matter what is happening around us, then we have a different life. We can be with whatever and still appreciate being alive. And say, oh, the flavor of today is turmoil. And we're looking forward to knowing astrology well enough that we can say, oh, this turmoil is going to shift on this day. And, you know, that understanding is coming closer. And then we can just say, okay, so this energy's over here. We're going to concentrate on that instead. We're going to cultivate that. But it's not about knowing astrology. It's about knowing that we have all collectively, we have all had so many experiences that we know what joy feels like. We know what grief feels like. We know what terror feels like. We know what anger feels like, rage. We know about every state that's possible at this time. We've experienced a lot. at least in minor forms, we've experienced every emotion. And so we have a big library to draw from when we're feeling in a way that we don't want to share with other people. Let's put it that way. We have the capacity to change our state, to choose a different one. And the stages of that are, first of all, acceptance of the one we're in, acknowledging exactly what we feel, putting language to it, self-acceptance of it. Because anything else is pushing down the feeling rather than allowing it to resolve. Bringing a feeling to resolution involves acceptance of it in the first place. And very often that means saying, oh yeah, I'm human. Oh, I forgot. This happens in me because I'm a human being. It's not because I'm a bad human being or a good human being. It just happens to me because I'm a human being and I have these reactivities. We all have them. We're born with them. That's what it is to be human. And every one of them is to be celebrated because every one of them has a place. And the ones that we experience as extremely negative probably had a role in some lifetime in our survival. And we all know there's nothing wrong with survival. It's why we're here in this moment. We just went blank. This program has been interrupted. No why, no idea why. Yes, please.
Well, good morning, everybody. I've had one of those very hot weeks. And I kind of glean what happens to you because our birthdays are 3 days apart and we're the same age.
Mhm.
So so the full moon tomorrow, what does that bring? Are we kind of smoothing out the edges a little bit, or?
Well, we're coming out the other side of the Jupiter-Mars conjunction because, you know, once it gets 3 degrees apart, it's not quite so intense anymore. So that's happening. And the sun is now safely today at some point, or maybe it was yesterday. I wasn't looking at it exactly. But once it gets, you know, 3 degrees into the new sign, it's not so intense anymore.
We're safe. We're a little safer.
Yes, it's not
No.
quite so hot.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Yeah. That means we share a lot.
I think so. And I
Yeah.
don't have the exact time of my birth, so things haven't been, you know, I haven't had the actual reading or the actual know of just the time I've been born. But anyway, kind of close enough around the edges anyway.
Yeah.
Similarity.
It's pretty similar.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, interesting times, yeah. So
It
so
is
the other
interesting.
thing, so the
Yes.
other thing is, I think we used to talk about uh, that knowing before we were born what we were coming into. Um, so can we say we've chosen this time? Is this correct?
Absolutely, we can say that.
Okay. All right. Okay. Strap in gently.
Yeah, but the danger in that is that we can say that we deserve something
Right.
in either extreme,
Yeah.
that I should have gotten better than what I'm getting, or um, I couldn't have chosen this, or uh, I deserve what I'm getting because
Yeah.
I chose it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of
Yeah. I
we can go any way with that.
yeah. I see
We
that. I don't grab on too much because I don't know enough, but I was just curious about that.
yeah, we can go all the way from arrogance to complete shame
Yeah.
with that view.
Yeah. No, I don't do that. I do get riled though, but but it's nice to uh have some understanding about that because the planets are definitely um worth understanding somewhat and
Well,
get some
it's
guidance.
interesting because knowledge is a dangerous thing too,
Mm-hmm.
because then you can say, well, I feel like this because it's in the stars, so I don't have to take any responsibility. I can just sit here and be miserable.
Yeah.
Or, I deserve this joy because I chose it. I mean, all around the spectrum, it's like,
Yeah.
so going for the stillness is safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really it's really the truth. Anything other than that deep connection,
Mm-hmm.
anything other than that is going to lead us astray.
Mm-hmm.
And
True.
that's the norm for humanity, so
Mm-hmm.
it's not necessarily bad. It's unusual to
Mm-hmm.
cultivate something different in
Mm-hmm.
this particular time and culture.
Mm-hmm.
So we are blessed,
Mm-hmm.
whether our circumstances are wonderful or difficult in a given moment. We are
Mm-hmm.
blessed in
Yes.
so many ways.
And I feel that so much. Yeah.
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 Yeah, there's so many things that we take for granted that people living in other parts of the earth
Oh,
just never
I
experience.
I know.
We're
True.
not running for our lives. We're not, we have
Yeah.
everything we need,
We sure do. Yeah. Thank you.
which gives us the luxury of having these conversations,
Yes.
the luxury to look deeper
Yeah. Wonderful.
and to acknowledge the fact that we're alive, and what a miracle that is. What a miracle it is. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
A
Well, we're
lot.
very lucky. We're very lucky to be together and learning.
Oh,
Learning.
yes.
This is wonderful news.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and every single one of us, it's a beautiful day and we can walk outside to the most beautiful nature
Oh, we can. And our
available on
flowers
the
and
planet.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just the big, huge trees, the roses,
I
every
loved that thunder and lightning and storm yesterday. I just thought that was magnificent.
Me too. And I was so aware of the high pressure. I was just like,
Oh, I was too. Before that, it's like, all right, it's got to be the pressure.
right. Yeah. Yeah. And the humidity,
building.
we've had humidity for a week that's been
Yeah.
unlike, something
Yeah.
on the West Coast that I've felt for, we haven't had humidity like this
Yeah.
most of the time.
But how lucky to have a thunderstorm come right through here. I don't know, maybe it's close to fall, but it just was like, wow, the birds were loving it. They were just,
Oh yeah.
it was
Yeah.
just fabulous.
Yes.
Kind of ripped things apart. Roar.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And this morning it was so nice to be outside.
beautiful.
Yes.
The colors of the sky and the clouds, and oh my gosh.
Yeah, and the smells. Everything was wet and
Yeah.
alive.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I also love the storm. I was so grateful when the rain came.
Oh,
It was a little bit hard on Ollie, the thunder.
oh yeah. Yeah. I had just been talking with my girlfriend that lives in Veneta. Oh, maybe that's 2.5 hours away. And she goes, oh my God, the thunder and that was hitting her at that moment. And I think it was maybe an hour and a half or not almost 2 hours when we started having that. It was just like this thing that rolled over and engulfed us. So
Yeah, it was
that was
amazing.
powerful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I loved every second of it. It was so welcome. Everything was so dry. It was just like the earth was going. Hmm. We are so happy to be here. It's just, it's beyond words, really. It's beyond words, the joy of being together and experiencing this moment together. And there's a gestalt about together. It's undeniable that the sum of the parts is greater than any of the individual ones. So I guess that gratitude is taking us right into meditation. It's amazing how fast it goes when you're having fun. So let's sit for a few minutes and we'll be back. Thank you so much for coming today. We have really just totally enjoyed every minute. So much love. Bye for now.